Warning buzzer of my voice where you help yourself to a seat. You don't have to get totally quiet, just find a seat. Welcome, and thank you for being here. This is a great occasion, and we appreciate everybody taking their time to be here and join us for this. I'm Buck Rogers. I am about to become the immediate past president of the State Bar of Georgia. And at this time, I'd like to ask Justice Melton to come up and give the invocation.
Thank you, Buck. It really is quiet. Let's pray. In a world struggling for purpose and direction, you give us a cause. In a world lonely for friends and family, you give us brothers and sisters. In a world filled with hunger and thirst, you offer the bread of life and living water. And so we pause to give you thanks. We pause to acknowledge you. We pause to ask for your blessing upon this fellowship, your blessing upon this ceremony, that we may better do your service. And we ask for your blessings upon each man, each woman, and our families. In your name, amen.
This time, we'd like to recognize our distinguished guest, Chief Justice Harris Hines, who's somewhere there. We see him. Presiding Justice Harold Melton, we just heard from. Justice Robert Benham, not sure. Justice Carol Hunstein, Justice David Namias, Justice Keith Blackwell, Justice Michael Boggs, Justice Britt Grant. Welcome. From the Court of Appeals, we have Chief Judge Stephen Dillard, Presiding Judge Yvette Miller, Presiding Judge John Ellington, Presiding Judge Chris McFadden, Judge Carla Wong McMillan, Judge Amanda Mercier, and Judge Clyde Reese. Welcome. We'd like to say thank you to our sponsors who make these events possible. The 5 Gavel sponsor Member Benefits, Inc., and the 3 Gavel Law Pay. And a thank you to the many sections and companies who contribute to the opening night event. Without them, we couldn't put that on, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. At this time, we are going to present the Employee of the Year Award. Obviously, the award ceremony we do on Friday. My script is missing. Here it is. The Friday meeting, we recognize a lot of folks, and that's important. And we deliberately do this recognition separately from that because, as you can imagine, with State Bar recognizing lawyers all day long, sometimes it's easy to forget the staff's contributions, so it's nice to pull this one out and do it separately. The Employee of the Year Award honors a staff member of the State Bar of Georgia for distinguished dedication to carrying out the ideals of the bar and commends the individual's exemplary work in conscientious manner and positive attitude. This time, I would like Barbara Daly to please come forward. Barbara Daly has been a faithful employee of the State Bar of Georgia as administrator of the Consumer Assistance Program since 2001. When you think about that title, Consumer Assistance Program, reflect on what it is that we do and who the consumers are of the services we provide and the assistance she might be providing. And when you think about that, this is a group of consumers who are not happy. She joined the State Bar of Georgia staff as a part-time receptionist in 1996 and was an administrator in the continuing legal education department from 1997 to 98. Barbara offers administrative support to the director and assistant director of Consumer Assistance Program in their response to voluminous written correspondence. Once again, that's a nice euphemism, voluminous written correspondence. And it's also redundant, written correspondence. Her timeliness and special skills contribute greatly to the public image of the State Bar of Georgia, particularly with regard to responding to written correspondence. Additionally, Barbara's organizational skills enhance the Consumer Assistance Program's ability to communicate effectively with the general public and members of the bar, and her coworkers can testify to her dedication, diligence, proficiency, generosity, class, and humor. Barbara gives wise counsel to her coworkers based on the vast life experiences that she has, and her unfailing loyalty to the Consumer Assistance Program is greatly appreciated. Please join me in expressing on behalf of the State Bar of Georgia our sincere appreciation to Barbara Daly for her accomplishments and dedication to the organization. You're getting a standing ovation. I've got to take a picture.
I really appreciate it, and I thank everyone so much. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Shall I take it?
You want to take it with you? Thank you, Barbara, for all you do. At this time, we are going to administer the oath to the new officers, not the bar president. Don't get excited yet. But this time, we'd like Judge Phipps to come take the stand. Darrell Sutton, President-elect. Dawn Jones, Treasurer. And Elizabeth Fight, Secretary. Please join us on the stand.
Would you raise your right hands and repeat after me? I state your name,
Dawn M. Jones,
swear that I will truly and honestly,
swear that I will truly and honestly,
justly and uprightly
justly and uprightly
conduct myself as a member of this learned profession,
conduct myself as a member of this learned profession,
and in accordance with
and in accordance with
the Georgia rules of professional conduct,
the Georgia rules of professional conduct,
as an attorney and counselor,
as an attorney and counselor,
and that I will support and defend
and that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Georgia.
and the Constitution of the State of Georgia.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
This is the time where we do the turning over of the symbolic gavel. And it is a moment of reflection for me to introduce Ken Hodges, our next president. And I'd like to call Ken on up here. Don't bring your family just yet. We're going to have them come up in just a minute. Margaret, you can wait. I just want Ken close enough that if he needs to take me off the stage, he can do it. When I was thinking about this and what I might say, I was trying to remember last year, and it was kind of a blur. And I said to Mandy, I was like, did Pat say a lot at this thing? And she said, yes. He had a lot to say. He talked for a little bit. And I said, well, that's just Pat's continuing public service to prevent you from having to hear me. Unfortunately, Pat's not up here today, and he can't stop me. Bar leadership is kind of interesting. It sort of works its way through committees and executive committee and so forth. And a few years ago, we were having our extended meeting with the Supreme Court. And after we had done, basically Friday is, they have a 4-hour meeting, we have a 4-hour meeting, and then Saturday we get together and we have about a 4-hour meeting. And then afterwards, people are kind of ready to relax, spend time with their families and sort of just kick back. And our family wasn't with us on that particular trip, and so Elizabeth Fite, Pat O'Connor, and Ken and I all went to Brogan's on St. Simon's. And we were just hanging out, having lunch, and I introduced the idea to Ken and Elizabeth that I might consider trying to run for office and getting on the leadership track. And Elizabeth is quick to listen and slow to speak. Ken, however, is different. So I brought this up, and I just said, hey, guys, I'm thinking about this. And Ken said, well, that's a great idea. That's such a good idea. In fact, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about it before you thought about it. I should do it before you should. I could do it right now. And you'll get a minute.
Okay. Yeah, I get the rebuttal.
And I was like, okay. But anyhow, my point was saying I wanted to do it in this point, this, that, and the other. And Ken says, well, that's good. It's great. Good. I'm not afraid to run a statewide election. And Elizabeth finally chimes in. She looks at 2 boys fighting over a toy, and she says, you're not afraid to lose one either. But apparently, he's not afraid to win one either. So I'm glad I didn't take that challenge. Then along the ways, we had some changes in the bar leadership, and along that, Pat stepped up and did about 1.5 years extra work. And when that transition was happening, Ken was like, hey, man, if you're not ready, I'll just leapfrog you, because I'm ready.
I did do that.
We got one admission there.
That's right.
So he was willing to do that. But on a more serious note, I will tell you that Ken is a great leader. He has been great to serve along with. He is always available. And when I say always, I call him all the time. I text him, I email him. And he is very receptive of these communications. Now, he will tell you once he can figure out the value of the call, and I don't mean the value to him, I mean the value just period. He's like, hey, Buck, are we just killing time because I'm at my kid's game? I got things to do. And I appreciate that. I'm like, yeah, in fact, we're killing time. And so we end it. But most of the time, we have something to talk about. And he's always available to do it. And when I was thinking about Ken and how to express his dedication and service to this body, I was thinking about, working with Pat and working with Ken, and it sort of bookends. Pat and I worked a lot together, and then Ken and I worked a lot together. We all worked together. And Pat's leadership and continued work is just incredible. He drives all over the state, and he's always on the phone, willing to talk and so forth. But Ken, I'm like, how do you find time? Because I hear about, he spends time with Melissa and Margaret and Jack. He does all these things in his community down in Albany, and he's always available to talk about bar matters. And that made me think about the recent Court of Appeals elections that he just went through. And the idea of whether one person could possibly do what is modestly 2 full-time jobs and perhaps 2 more than full-time jobs. Whether somebody should do it or not is another matter. Whether somebody could do it, Ken's the guy. Ken gives 100% to everything he does, and he is always attentive to those things. When we left the meeting today, Mandy came and picked me up in the golf cart, and she said, "How'd Ken do?" I said, "He did great. He did really great. It was a great meeting." She said, "Oh, really? He did a good job?" No. He did a horrible job, but he was gracious and had humor. And that's the true skill of a trial lawyer. He gave his president's address before the Pledge of Allegiance. And
Just trying to get going.
I'm not casting any stones. I'm going to tell you right now, we can all replay the last year and just find some great highlights because, boy, I don't see them. But here's the bottom line. Ken's a leader. He's not a politician. He did have a campaign. Ken is a leader. He is a servant leader, and he's here to serve and lead. But first, he's here to serve. So please join me in the passing of the gavel, which is a ridiculously large gavel, I got to say. I'm not sure what we're compensating for. But welcoming Ken Hodges. You want to hit me?
Thank you, Buck. That's just how I wrote it. Are we doing the swearing in?
You do the swearing in.
First. Okay. Melissa, Margaret, Jack. Right here.
You guys are perfect. You want to help me? You want to help me? Stand right here. Hold the Bible underneath. Thank you.
It's a great honor for me to administer this oath to Ken Hodges. I've known him since he was not much larger than Jack, and his father was a great friend of mine. So would you raise your right hand and put your left hand on the Bible, Ken? And repeat after me. I, Kenneth B. Hodges III,
I, Kenneth B. Hodges III,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will execute the office of President
that I will execute the office of President
of the State Bar of Georgia
of the State Bar of Georgia
and perform all the duties incumbent upon me
and perform all the duties incumbent upon me
faithfully to the best of my ability and understanding,
faithfully to the best of my ability and understanding,
and agreeable to the policies,
and agreeable to the policies,
bylaws, and rules and regulations
bylaws, and rules and regulations
of the State Bar of Georgia,
of the State Bar of Georgia,
the laws and Constitution of the State of Georgia,
the laws and Constitution of the State of Georgia,
and the Constitution of the United States.
and the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
Congratulations.
My name is Margaret, and I like the color pink, and I'm amazing. My name is Jack.
And Jack is amazing too. That was a compromise. Margaret wanted to sing to y'all. She had a song, and I told her we could do that later. But anyway, Buck, first of all, thank you for your very kind words. Most of it was true, and I appreciate the stories. It was an honor serving with you, and I look forward to filling some mighty big shoes. And I will be calling you as often as you call Pat. We will be having many conversations, and I'm glad you're sticking on the team, and thank you. What can the bar do for you? That is a question that I've been answering all around the state as I was traveling as president-elect, talking to various bar groups. And I got to confess to you, when I was the district attorney in Albany, the answer to that was nothing. I didn't think the bar had anything to offer because as a prosecutor, I had the prosecuting attorney's council there to offer the CLE that we needed and the support that we needed, and generally speaking, we didn't rely on the bar at all. And it wasn't until I left and returned into private practice in 2008, joined the Board of Governors, that I was able to see what the bar can do, and it does a ton, not just for me, but for all of Georgia's lawyers. I miss the close interaction that I had with my brothers and sisters in prosecution, but the bar has become a family just like they were. Family is very important to me, and I'm blessed in that regard. First and foremost, I have a very supportive and loving wife who is a wonderful mother to 2 very vivacious children. And they light up my world in a way that I never dreamed possible. Watching Margaret and Jack grow up playing, what's that, Margaret? I'm sorry. No, thank you, though. Watching them grow up and playing, and sometimes fighting, reminds me of the times that my sister, Dr. Margie Hodges Shaw, who is a biomedical ethics professor at the University of Rochester Medical School and a graduate of the Cornell Law School, and I had together. Margie is here tonight from New York, and I appreciate you being here. And when you meet her, if you haven't, you will see that she got both the brains and the beauty in the family. To my son Jack, I will tell you that your Aunt Margie and I got along a whole lot better once I could catch her. You see, Margie was a track star in high school, and she employed the hit and run tactic. And we got along much better the day I could catch up to her. Margie is carrying the family banner here tonight because my father, a Georgia attorney, and the reason both of us went to law school, can't be here tonight, but he's looking down upon us, smiling. And my mother, who has also been a very steady influence and inspiration to both of us, couldn't travel with us for her health reasons, but I know that they're both here in spirit. I didn't have a brother growing up, but I got one later in life with my cousin, Kenneth Hodges Calloway, to be exact, who was an inspiration to me and to his goddaughter, Margaret. Also together with me celebrating is my brother-in-law, Daniel, and his fiancée, Sarah. I have many other family members and friends on hand tonight, and I appreciate all of their love and support, and I can't single them all out because time will not permit, and we have a really good party to go to. But I do want to thank Herb and Connie Phipps for coming, and as Judge Phipps said, he has known me for as long as when I was back in Jack's shoes, and that's why I wanted him particularly to swear me in. I remember them in my house when I was Jack's age and older, when I was in high school, and we've been friends for many years, and I was honored to appear in his courtroom many times. But he never cut me any slack. In fact, when I was the district attorney, I was trying a death penalty case, and we had a forensic psychologist on the stand who was testifying to something. And he said something that was very, very good to the state. It was surprisingly good coming out of the defense expert's mouth. And I said, "Excuse me, Dr. Herendeen, what did you say? I didn't hear you." And Judge Phipps said, "Mr. Hodges, we all heard him. Move on." And I also thank my good friend and classmate, Justice Harold Melton, for bringing us the invocation. We were 1 L's, 2 L's, and 3 L's together at the University of Georgia School of Law. And we were in the same section in many classes together. And apparently now I will be on the bench behind him as I was in all the intramural sports we played together. I'm honored to be the 56th president of the State Bar, and I have many examples to follow, many great examples to follow, and I pledge to do everything that I can do to keep this organization moving in the right direction. And we have a great staff who I recognize this morning, who are here tonight, and I will tell you that I will lean on them as I have done many times, and they will rise to the occasion as they always do. I told you at the beginning of this that my bar speeches started around the state by saying, what can the bar do for you? Well, to answer that question, I need your help. I want your ideas, your solutions to problems. I want your thoughts about what's important and what's not. I want to walk this journey together, and together we're going to make the state bar better than it is. I have some ideas, some good, some the jury's still out, but I have them. But if you've got some, bring them to me. And as I told you this morning, I used to tell my assistant DAs all the time in meetings, I can't fix problems I don't know about, and I can't fix them together by myself. I want to fix them with you. Now, let's turn to one of the best bars in the state of Florida, which is right outside. Have a dinner dance to the best band in the state of Georgia, also my Albany family, the Kitchefoony Cowboys. And let's celebrate the best bar in the country, that being the State Bar of Georgia. And as I told you earlier, for those of y'all paying attention, I've got my blue jeans and boots. And I'm changing into blue jeans and boots, and I hope that y'all have got them too. So let's have a great time tonight. Buck and Pat, if y'all will come back up.
Good evening. It's the honor of the outgoing past president every year to present a gift to the immediate past president. You all may remember last year that when Bob Kaufman presented my gift, he said, we decided, in keeping with me driving back and forth from Savannah to Atlanta all year, we decided to give you a set of tires. Well, Buck, in keeping with that theme of giving a gift reflective of your bar year, we've decided to give you an easy chair. No, that's a joke. Actually, we have for several years now presented the outgoing president with a cash gift, gifts from members of the Board of Governors. I'm happy to report that so far we have $2. And I have in this envelope your $2. But it says right here, the best is yet to come. So I hope if you have not contributed to Buck's gift and you're a member of the Board of Governors, you will do so. Buck, thank you very much for a great year and all you've done.
Once again, this is too much. I don't deserve it.
Thank you. Kitchefoony Cowboys, let's go have some fun.
Have a good evening. Yay!